I personally selected a collar for my Omega little brother. Later, this collar adorned my own neck, concealing the grotesque swelling of my glands and the overwhelming pheromones that threatened to overflow. 1. I was thrust into an ABO world, bound to a sinister male antagonist system. The system decreed that I must maintain my fod and continuously torment the protagonist, Song Shulin, until he succumbed to darkness. I meekly inquired, do I truly appear as one who would bully the weak? I am but a timid little zero. The system paused ominously for several seconds before delivering its cold, mechanical response. Refuse, and I shall return you to the morgue to lie in repose. I replied, I shall comply, I beg for mercy. Upon reopening my eyes, I found myself transformed into Song Shulin's elder brother, Jiang Yuding. By virtue of our surnames, it was evident that we shared no blood relation, nor did we belong to the same household register. Perhaps this arrangement was intended to alleviate his psychological burden during the inevitable betrayal. My parents divorced and my stepfather pursued a modern romantic relationship, preferring to engage in love without the constraints of marriage, thus meeting Song Shulin's mother, who was similarly divorced. They quickly found common ground and formed a new family. According to the character design provided by the system, I was to embody the role of a spoiled second-generation heir, one who preys on the weak. At present, the plot had progressed to the moment Song Shulin stepped into my home. The system urged me to establish my authority over my new little brother. In a casual tone, it remarked, this task is a beginner's assignment, of low difficulty. Before his descent into darkness, Song Shulin is a pure white lotus, easily manipulated. Before I had laid eyes on him, I believed this to be true that my new brother was polite and well-mannered, with rosy lips and pearly teeth, obediently greeting me, which was commendable. However, he stood a head taller than me, his fists the size of my two combined, and that was decidedly unfavorable. Are children developing so robustly these days? I recall he is merely a month my junior. Aunt Chong, is this the only brother you brought? I inquired, my heart racing. Indeed, Shulin is my sole son. My anxious heart finally sank. How was I to bully him? Should I leap and collide with his shoulder? System, how about we switch tasks? I fear I may not manage this. The system, exasperated, retorted, you are an alpha, he is an omega. Use your pheromones to firmly suppress him. What is there to fear? I am here to assist. I had only been an alpha for 2 days, yet I had been a timid little zero for over 20 years. I silently screamed within.in the next moment. The system declared, complete the task and you shall earn 30 days of vitality. Instantly, the desire for life eclipsed all else. Forgive me, dear brother, for I am but a cowardly boy who fears pain. 2. In this world, there exist 3 distinct genders which fully differentiate upon reaching the age of 16. The most vulnerable and secretive part of every individual is the gland located at the nape of the neck. Particularly, when the gland of one encounters the pheromones of another, it becomes imbued with the essence of the counterpart, leading to a profound sense of dependency. This phenomenon is colloquially known as being marked. For an individual of this gender, only the closest of companions are permitted to infuse their pheromones into the gland. Any other person attempting to do so would be committing an egregious offense. It is, indeed, a formidable warning, one that might lead to a visit from the Protection Association, perhaps even to a tea session at the station. Under the duress of the system's coercion, I took the initiative to escort my new younger brother to his room, quietly shutting the door behind us. A mere brush would suffice for me to accomplish my task. I silently prayed, taking advantage of the moment while he had his back turned, and cautiously released my pheromones. The scent of orange candy wafted through the air, fading away before it could reach his suppressive patch, almost undetectable. I clung to a thread of hope, believing that my lower-grade pheromones were so weak that he might not even notice my provocation. Just as I was about to bridge the final centimeter, my brother paused, leisurely turning around. He gazed at me, his crimson lips slightly pursed, as the weight of his luggage dropped heavily to the ground. My heart raced in tandem. The already tenuous pheromones I had released withered in a state of panic. He advanced step by step, and I instinctively retreated until my heels pressed against the door. Just when I anticipated an impending confrontation, I heard his voice, laced with confusion, accompanied by shallow breaths. I just caught a whiff of a sweet scent. Is that emanating from you, brother? When one lies, they tend to become quite loquacious. I touched my neck and, with a serious demeanor, fabricated an explanation. Perhaps the suppressive patch has loosened. You needn't dwell on it. This is merely how our brothers greet one another in the city. It's a display of warmth and camaraderie. You will come to understand in time. He appeared momentarily taken aback, then responded earnestly, so that's how it is. I must have been rude. I apologize for neglecting you earlier, brother. Before I could revel in his acceptance of my clumsy excuse, I was suddenly engulfed by a pheromone 10 times more potent than mine, saturating the entire space. The intense and rich aroma of liquor was thick and suffocating, encasing me like an impenetrable wall. I felt the suppressive patch on my neck become utterly ineffective. 3. The domineering pheromones surged through every pore of my being. Whether it was intoxication or the overwhelming stimulation of his pheromones, I could not restrain myself from gasping for breath, attempting to plead for mercy, but all that escaped my lips was a whimper. I bit down hard on my lip to stifle any further sounds, while mentally cursing the system. Why, I implore, does a mere individual possess such aggressive pheromones? The system remained as silent as a quail. My vision began to blur, and in a daze, I beheld his deep, clear eyes glimmering with a subtle smile. Brother, it is a pleasure to meet you. I look forward to your guidance in the future. I nodded absent-mindedly, sliding down against the door, frantically searching for the doorknob. My mind was consumed by a singular thought. Flee. Each second lingered excruciatingly. Unfamiliar sensations churned within me, and suddenly, my legs gave way. Just as I thought I would fall, a pair of broad hands caught my chin. I hazily grasped his wrist. He seemed genuinely concerned about my condition, and a caring voice emanated from above. Brother, you appear to have a fever. In frustration, I bit down on his finger. Ding. Warning task completed. Rewards have been dispensed. 4. My new younger brother was assigned to our class by my father, who had personally informed the teacher to seat us together. This was ostensibly to foster a bond between the two brothers. Shortly after his arrival, thanks to his good looks and amiable nature, he swiftly became the campus heartthrob, with different admirers vying for his attention each day. After class, a circle of students gathered around his desk, feigning inquiries as a pretext to get close to him. My brother remained remarkably composed. Even when two individuals clashed before him, he showed no sign of agitation. That gentle smile was often gracing his lips, giving me the illusion that he would acquiesce to any request I made. As if sensing my gaze, he paused his writing and offered me a bottle of water to soothe my throat. He remembered my little habits with remarkable precision. After spending several days together, I was convinced that my new brother was a genuine White Lotus, incapable of harming even an ant on the ground, let alone causing any harm to others. That day's pheromones must have been an anomaly. Following the tasks assigned by the system, I diligently sought to trip him up, applying more effort than I usually would in school. I deliberately hid his assignments, hoping he would be reprimanded by the teacher the following day. I expected him to be angry and confront me, but instead, he simply stayed up until midnight, quietly rewriting everything. I intentionally left my clothes outside, requesting that he bring them to the bathroom. Not only did he neatly fold and deliver them, but he also washed the dirty clothes in the hamper, including my underwear. I asked him to prepare breakfast for me in the morning, and when he presented it, I began to complain about this and that, ultimately feeding his carefully prepared meal to my dog. Any reasonable person would find such malice intolerable. Yet he apologized, claiming his culinary skills were lacking and that he feared I might go hungry, secretly bringing me 2 bread rolls during the break. As I stared at the task progress bar, which showed no signs of darkening, I felt on the verge of a breakdown. I was not a good person, and he was not an ordinary human. The system's tasks grew increasingly demanding. Remembering the task I had just accepted, I averted my gaze and declined the water he offered. Outside, the sky was shrouded in dark clouds. Rain was imminent. 5. I took 2 umbrellas, leaving Uncle Lee without the need to wait for him to drive home. Uncle Lee dared not inquire further, pressing the accelerator as the school receded in the rearview mirror. The rain poured down heavily outside, yet for some inexplicable reason, I felt no joy in completing my task. A dazzling flash of lightning illuminated the sky as bright as day, and from the corner of my eye, I caught sight of a familiar cake box in the passenger seat. This cake was one I had casually mentioned wanting a few days prior. Due to its popularity, reservations were necessary, and I had dismissed the hassle. I inquired with Uncle Lee, who informed me that the second young master had specifically instructed him to retrieve it that morning. He even remembered my offhand remark. A pang of guilt pierced my conscience. Uncle Lee, please stop. Let us not return home just yet. Take a detour back to the school. Uncle Lee glanced at me through the rearview mirror and nodded in agreement. System prompt. Completing this task will grant you 60 days of life energy. I merely wish to have a look at him. Observing him will not affect the task. The system fell silent thereafter. Upon returning to the school, I immediately spotted my brother's slender figure. The campus was deserted. It seemed he had finally accepted that no one would come to fetch him. He meticulously wrapped his backpack in his uniform and stepped into the downpour. He did not run. His pace was slow, the heavy rain plastering his fluffy black hair against his forehead, head bowed like a homeless pup. I could not discern the expression on his face, my gaze following his figure until it vanished into the alley, my hand tightly gripping the umbrella handle. System prompt. This task has reached 90 completion. I relaxed, sinking silently into the seat. I was a malevolent supporting character, a person destined to perish. Why should I concern myself with the lives of others? As long as there was a White Lotus in this world, I need not meddle. Yet, Uncle Lee suddenly spoke up. Young master. It seems a man with a knife followed the second young master into the alley. In that instant, my blood ran cold. My heart raced as if striving to break free from the confines of my chest. My mind went blank, and instinctively, I rushed out. System notification. Your task progress. Silence. If that White Lotus dies, I will also meet my demise. By the time I reached the alley, that person wore a grotesque expression, brandishing a knife high above. In a split second, I could only manage to shove him aside. The sharp blade effortlessly tore through the fabric, leaving a long gash, blood staining the white shirt in a chaotic splash. As I collapsed, I caught a glimpse of my brother's incredulous gaze. 6. When I regained consciousness, I found myself lying in a hospital bed. Upon seeing me open my eyes, the people gathered around my bedside rushed closer. Aunt Chong was exceedingly emotional, tears streaming down her face as she grasped my hand, alternating between apologies and expressions of gratitude. Upon further inquiry, I learned that the individual who sought to harm my brother was his gambling-addicted biological father, who had just been released from prison and came to extort money from him. My father praised my maturity, noting that I now had someone I wished to protect, expressing pride in me and assuring that he would seek justice. The one who harmed me would be incarcerated once more and not easily released. My brother's eyes were rimmed with red, and his hand was wrapped in a bandage. When I asked him what had happened, he refused to answer, merely bowing his head to help me peel an apple. He took over all the duties of the nurse beside us, leaving the nurse helplessly standing in the corner. As evening approached and everyone was preparing to leave, he insisted on remaining by my side as my caretaker, not allowing me to refuse. In the hospital room, it was just the two of us. After quietly assisting me with my medication, he entered the bathroom with a change of clothes. The system murmured nearby after you collapsed. He swiftly subdued that scoundrel father of his. His injury was sustained from striking his father's head. I trembled slightly as I held the cake. Had I known he could handle it, I wouldn't have embarrassed myself by stepping in. What a disgrace, I thought bitterly while devouring the delicious cake. The cake was soft and sweet, of my favorite taro flavor, and after finishing it, my anger subsided somewhat. Yet the next moment, the system's cold, mechanical voice jolted me back to reality. Detected failure in the host's daily task, issuing a yellow card warning. The system is currently selecting a punishment. What? So soon? You have drawn bodily empathy, one way. What? Before I could fully comprehend, it felt as if a bucket of cold water had been thrown over me. The ensuing tremors were uncontrollable. Despite the absence of anyone nearby, I could still feel that bony, slightly calloused hand caressing me from head to toe. To say it was a caress would be inaccurate. The grip was firm, reddening my skin. In an instant, I recognized the owner of those hands. System, is this what you meant by a yellow card warning? The icy water accentuated the warmth lingering over my abdomen. I buried my face in the pillow, unable to suppress the breaths escaping from my lips. The sound of water in the bathroom stopped for a moment. My face flushed crimson down to my neck as I held my breath. When my brother emerged, water droplets clung to his well-defined muscles, and he held a damp towel in his hand. I couldn't bear to face him. Brother, you're injured. The wound can't touch water. Let me help you clean it. I noticed his delicate fingers tremble slightly. Snatching the towel from his hand, I swiftly drew the blackout curtains around the bed, my movements seamless. Unfortunately, the abruptness caused a jolt of pain in my injury, making me grimace. I need to rest, you should get some rest too. Yet he did not respond as usual, standing stubbornly outside the curtain. Brother, I have something to ask you. Go ahead. Why did you come back to find me today? Since you call me brother, I would never abandon you. Remembering my character as the villainous male counterpart, I coldly added, even if I were to bully you, only I have the right to do so. I sensed my heart beginning to race, though it was not my own heartbeat. I glanced toward the tall figure behind the curtain. Is he that easy to coax? 7. A week later, I returned to school. My brother, however, remained unconvinced, refusing to let me participate in physical education, forcefully obtaining a leave for me. Although my wound had scabbed over, he remained unconvinced. Fearing that he was harboring guilt, I no longer resisted his concern. According to system evaluation, the host's task handling capability is insufficient. The main task line is undergoing modification. What new scheme are you cooking up, system? The system has refreshed the long-term task. Monitor and control the White Lotus. Disrupt his relationship with the protagonist. The system emphasized. This is the task I have negotiated for you on the edge of violation. If you still cannot complete it, the system will annihilate the host in accordance with the rules. My focus, however, was not on that. Who is the protagonist? Lian Hua. They met through a friend's introduction at a biology competition summer camp. Why would disrupting their relationship cause the White Lotus to darken? This is the optimal outcome derived from the system's meticulous calculations. The system fell silent when I pressed for further details. The biology summer camp, such a distant phrase. Suddenly, my drowsiness vanished, and I remained awake to listen intently to a biology class. The little old man even praised me for my attentiveness. After class, I did not, as usual, succumb to sleep. My brother, as always, was surrounded. I felt a surge of irritation watching those sycophants. Perhaps one of them was the friend who introduced Lian Hua to my brother. This was not mere flattery. They were essentially trying to claim my life. I let out a cold laugh to begin. Have you all had enough of this charade? I've tolerated you for far too long. Your unpleasant pheromones are not your fault, but your audacity to disgust others is where you are in the wrong. Seeing my brother is easy to talk to, you all cling to him like leeches. How shameless can you be? The noisy classroom fell silent in an instant. I was the privileged child whose father donated 2 buildings to the school. Everyone knew me. Even if I did not take exams, the grade teacher, who valued scores above all, would not dare reprimand me. People are inherently self-serving. They all whispered about me behind my back, yet none dared to offend me openly. Usually, I preferred to be invisible. But now, I had to embody the role of the villain. I theatrically pinched a bag of snacks from my brother's desk between my thumb and index finger, sneering, "This trash dares to present itself before my brother? Even my dog wouldn't eat it. If you want to pursue my brother, you must first pass my test. Now get as far away as possible." As the crowd dispersed, I felt I could breathe easier for a few more days. My brother frowned at me, his eyes filled with disapproval. I felt a twinge of guilt. Meddling in his affairs was overstepping my bounds, and it was natural for him to be upset. "Why are you angry with him?" he stated flatly. "And slamming the table?" He leaned in closer, his fingers resting on my shoulder, warmth seeping through the fabric to my skin. "I wonder if I accidentally touched your wound." The breath of his words brushed against my earlobe, sending a feather-like tickle across my heart. 8. School is a microcosm of society, where students exhibit a level of snobbery no less than adults, often even more direct. In the days following my proclamation, the entire grade learned that Zhang Shulin was under my protection. Suddenly, my surroundings became significantly quieter. One day after class, I waited for my brother to finish his assignments so we could head home together. My meal partner, Xiao Gao, approached me, saying a heated post had surfaced on the forum, laden with harsh comments, and urged me to take a look. I opened the link. Those who acquired the script of the gossiping character on the forum have taken to calling me the brother-supporting demon, fabricating scandalous tales about Zhang Shulin's mother, claiming she ascended to her position as a mistress, while they hurled insults at me, labeling me a disabled person and cursing that I would one day be cast out by my father. Upon hearing this, my younger brother silently paused his writing, his eyelashes casting a slight shadow over his cheeks. "It's my fault for not handling this matter properly. Originally, you need not have offended them, brother. How would you have handled it by putting on a false smile? That little rascal, had I not been empathetic, you might have successfully deceived me. Clearly, after I expressed my anger, you were secretly reveling in it." Seizing the opportunity, I ruffled his hair, softening my tone, though his hair was prickly like that of a hedgehog. "Sometimes you might also try to wield your influence without living so cautiously." Our eyes locked, creating an oddly tense atmosphere, and I awkwardly withdrew my hand, only to have him gently grasp it. After a moment, I heard him murmur a soft I chuckled. Leading the pure-hearted astray is precisely what a nefarious antagonist ought to do. Upon returning home, I reported to my father, who promptly contacted the principal. The principal took the matter seriously, assuring us that school bullying would never be tolerated in our institution. That very night, the forum administrators permanently banned all those disruptive accounts. Given that the forum operates under real name registration, it didn't take long to identify the ringleader. The following day, during the flag-raising ceremony, I observed several familiar faces standing on the platform, heads bowed as they read their letters of repentance. Later, Xiao Gao inquired if I had sent someone to beat them into the hospital, as these individuals had taken a week off for illness, returning utterly cowed. I feigned an air of inscrutability, advising him not to pry further, for I was equally in the dark regarding the whole incident. My brother fell from the top 3 of the campus heartthrob rankings, overshadowed by a ferocious dog. After languishing in mediocrity for years, he was finally praised as a fierce dog. I was so elated that I asked my brother to buy me a small cake for celebration. This also meant that my brother's chances of meeting Lianhua were significantly diminished, a plan well executed. However, the one who had persistently advised me to take good care of my brother recently took a tumble, and had it not been for my empathy, his nonchalant demeanor would have easily deceived me. While applying medicine to his injuries, he suddenly asked why I hadn't spoken, knowing exactly where he hurt. Elite, saying it was because we shared a deep connection. Alright, I admit to cheating a little. Nevertheless, he seemed rather pleased. Since undertaking the long-term task, I have almost stuck to my brother like a shadow. We went to school together, dined together, visited the library together, and even jogged together in the mornings. To prevent him from engaging in online romances, I also clung to him under the guise of tutoring. Despite my relentless and all-encompassing surveillance, my brother's darkness progression bar remained unchanged. Truly, he was a masterful White Lotus. As I indulged in my drama while soaking in a bath, the system prompted me to check my messages. Ding! The weekly report for the host has just been released. Your performance is outstanding. Thus you are rewarded with an additional 14 days of life value. Gradually, circumstances began to improve. Although the rewards for long-term tasks weren't as substantial as those for sudden missions, as long as I stayed close to my brother, I could ensure my survival week by week. The two adults were quite pleased with this arrangement. I never thought Xiao Teng would one day actively engage in learning. Alin is even more effective than his previous tutor. Speaking of which, I was previously concerned that Xiao Teng might bully others, but it seems my fears were unfounded. He is finally exhibiting some semblance of an elder brother. Not at all. Xiao Teng has a wonderful disposition, while Alin is rather slow to warm up. This is the first time I've seen Alin so close with a friend. Honestly, I even contemplated taking Alin to see a psychologist. Enough! You two plastic couple, cease this mutual flattery. Do you realize the arduous days I endured to attend the Grand Biology Summer Camp? I initially thought that, with the affluent air script in hand, I could simply coast through life, only to discover I needed to retrieve knowledge I had forgotten since my college entrance examination. Fortunately, rehabilitation was significantly easier than starting anew. My biology grades skyrocketed, earning my father several extra bowls of rice in celebration. On the day I entered the summer camp, tears of joy filled my eyes. Surely, nothing could go awry now. Yet, what did you say? I'm not in the same dormitory as him. The coordinator matter-of-factly responded, of course, you're not in the same dormitory. You are from one class and he is from another, there's a distinction, so how could you share accommodations? Moreover, you are not in the same class. He is in class 1 and you are in class 2. This arrangement is already set and cannot be changed. My vision darkened. The summer camp schedule was packed, and the two classes were staggered, meaning I would have little opportunity to see my brother. How could I track him or ensure my survival under such circumstances? The accommodations were also quite distant from each other, as the organizers were wary of any phenomenal mishaps leading to irreparable tragedies. One lodging area was in the west while the other was in the east. I thought I was making a small advancement, only to find myself taking a significant step back. My brother, a pure White Lotus, would be vulnerable to exploitation in my absence. Would he be sold and count the money for the perpetrators? And what of the yet-to-appear threat, Lianhua? I still had no clue who that individual was. I had only one final opportunity left. I did not wish to perish. The fluctuations of my emotions caused pheromones to be released unconsciously. When my brother gently enveloped me in his embrace, I noticed security personnel casting vigilant glances in my direction. He leaned close to my ear and whispered, "It's all right, brother. Let us keep in touch every day via our phones. Shall we?" He gently patted my back, and my stiff limbs gradually regained their composure. "We must video call every day no matter how late it gets. All right. Each video call must last at least 30 minutes. I want to know everything about you. All right. If video calling isn't feasible, you must call me, and if our schedules overlap, you must come to see me. All right." With those agreements in place, my anxiety over separation eased somewhat. Before heading to the dormitory, I noticed a staff member pulling my brother aside for a conversation. I vaguely heard something about needing assistance. My brother glanced at me and smiled as he said something. The staff member scrutinized me for a moment before allowing him to leave. What was that about, Lin? Nothing. He was just envious of our close relationship and sought my advice. Ultimately, I was assigned to a double-occupancy dormitory. My roommate was a very affable older brother, albeit with a rather peculiar name, something about lotus and leaves. I, being socially anxious, hesitated to inquire about his name, opting instead to call him Old He daily. He had many friends and loved chatting about gossip. We quickly became familiar with each other. No one can resist the allure of gossip, unless the subject is themselves. After I finished talking with my brother, my roommate leaned in and asked, "Are you secretly in a relationship? Huh? I heard your boyfriend is a handsome, gentle white guy. You two seem inseparable, chatting for an hour every day. You're older than him and he calls you brother. Is it that guy? I never would have thought, bro. You managed to snag such a quality catch. Impressive." I could only facepalm in disbelief. "That's my brother." He raised an eyebrow. "Come on. I know he's your beloved little brother." I frowned and replied, "Though there's no blood relation, he is indeed my nominal brother, living under the same roof." He fell silent, and after a moment, his expression turned solemn as he asked, "Are you saying you and your brother interact like that?" "Dude, don't joke around. I have a brother too. That's ridiculous." "Who's joking with you?" Upon seeing my serious demeanor, his face turned pale. "My heavens, my earth, my coat, my jacket. Previously, I thought you were somewhat impressive, but now, I find you rather unsettling. You do not understand. There is a rationale behind my actions. Of course, I do not comprehend, for I am not deranged. Although I am aware that you share no blood ties, if you did, it would surely be more terrifying." He was bouncing around like a madman, shaking my shoulders, and his vigorous movements disheveled my clothing. Suddenly, he halted, pointing at the red marks on my chest. "Wait a moment, what happened to you? Did someone hit you?" I glanced down. The marks were the result of empathy, as my skin is quite sensitive and easily bruised. "Oh, it's nothing. My brother just has a bit of strength," I replied casually. The air grew silent. Noticing the sudden flicker in his eyes, I realized he had misunderstood. Just as I was about to clarify, he began scrolling on his phone without looking up. I leaned over to see his shopping cart filled with an array of law-related books. "What are you doing?" "I bought these for you. I think you shouldn't study biology. You ought to learn some legal knowledge. I have a feeling you will find it useful in the future." He said this with utmost seriousness. I smiled politely. Get lost. I had a restless night, replaying old H's words in my mind. "Your possessiveness over your brother is quite strong. He must always be accommodating you, how unfortunate. Living under such scrutiny, he must secretly cry in the middle of the night. Does he have even a single friend to converse with? Goodness, does he have any space to himself? If he were my brother, he would have run away by now." After all these days, my brother had remained obedient, with no one else appearing in his life. Perhaps I could try to give him a bit more space. I suppressed the turmoil within and resolved myself. The next day, I met my brother in the cafeteria. I feigned nonchalance and said, "Alan, let us change to a daily phone call from now on. Such long journeys as today can actually be cancelled. Moreover, Alan can make some male friends and engage in conversations. He should learn something different." I lowered my gaze, afraid to see his expression. If he looked relieved and happy, I feared I would crumble. After a while, I finally heard his voice. "Why the sudden change of heart, brother?" Recalling Bai Lianhua's character, I decided to take all the blame upon myself. "Actually, I've recently met some new friends, and it inspired me." My brother looked down, obscuring his expression from my view. "Okay, I'll follow your lead." After that day, my brother adhered to our agreement. During our calls, I endeavored to maintain a cheerful demeanor. However, after hanging up, the hollow feeling in my heart lingered persistently. I found myself staring at my phone for increasingly extended periods. This unusual behavior did not escape even Old He's notice. Noticing my recent state of despondency, Old He insisted on taking me out for some fresh air. Under his enthusiastic recommendation, we went to a bookstore together and purchased several books. These were not about law, but rather about sexual knowledge. "Are your recommendations reliable?" I glanced at the books in my hands, titles like Those Things, Don't Guess My Thoughts, and the Illustrated World edition. Rest assured, brother, he has carefully selected them, and all the brothers who have read them say they're excellent. He draped an arm over my shoulder while patting his chest. At that moment, my brother suddenly called. "Brother, what are you doing right now?" For some reason, I felt as though I had been caught in an affair.
I'm studying.
I was not lying. I was indeed on the path of learning, so why should I feel guilty? "What are you studying?" "Oh, you don't need to know. They were all those kinds of books." There was a minute of silence on the other end. "Brother, I miss you a bit. Is it convenient to see you now? Now? It's not really a good time for me. Oh? Is it because of your new friends? His words were deliberate, his tone unfriendly. A sense of foreboding surged within me. I slowly turned around, unexpectedly facing those familiar black eyes. He made his way through the crowd, observing the arm brother he had draped over me, then glancing at the books I held. Instinctively, I tried to hide the books behind me, but their weight caused them to tumble to the ground. The Illustrated World edition flared open, revealing its colorful pages. The exaggerated title boldly proclaimed, "Direct hits. Double the fun." This was, indeed, an adult magazine. I looked at Brother He. He was staring at the ceiling. "Oh, brother, is this your new preference?" In the midst of my brother's complex gaze, I felt myself shatter. "It's been several days. Hasn't he, your brother, called you yet?" "No." Brother He stroked his chin. "Why is he angry? Is it because you were caught looking at adult magazines without him?" I shook my head. Perhaps he had long since lost the desire to call me, and was now merely seeking an excuse. "Don't be too anxious. He might just be busy consulting with the esteemed biology professor. I heard from a friend that Professor Zhang has been accompanied by a young student everywhere, and judging by the description, it must be your brother. Brother He has a wide network. His information should be accurate. Bai Lianhua is indeed eager to learn, and that is true. He was unharmed, which eased half of my worry. The day the camp closes is his 18th birthday, and I plan to give him a birthday gift. I have experience. You can ask me and you won't be wrong. I didn't ask you. I have already customized something, and it will arrive in a few days." Brother He teased. "Even while feeling unwell, you still remember to prepare a gift to placate your brother. You truly are a good brother." I smiled in return. What can I say? I'm just a bit deranged. I can't seem to part with my brother. After driving Brother He away with his own disgust, I found myself staring blankly at my phone records. My state had been poor these past few days, with various parts of my body often experiencing pain, and within me occasionally surged an impulse to obliterate the entire world. Brother He mentioned that this happens every month, due to hormonal fluctuations affecting pheromone levels. Yet, I felt an underlying sense of something being amiss. Perhaps it was withdrawal symptoms, I reassured myself. Since I had promised to give him space, I could not go back on my word. The next time I saw my brother was at the camp closing party. I waved enthusiastically at him, but he seemed not to notice. A gentle smile adorned his lips, surrounded by a circle of people, among whom was a particularly tall boy, standing at an impressive height of 185 meters. He sat close to my brother, and the others regarded them with a knowing, ambiguous gaze. I heard someone call out the boy's name, Ahua. I froze in place, unable to suppress my wild thoughts. Had he found his true soulmate during these days apart from me? I pressed my hand to my chest, where my brother's heartbeat echoed louder and louder, a cacophony of confusion, joy, and anxiety. Various emotions layered upon one another. Empathy does not deceive. He likes him. For the first time in 20 years, I felt my heart flutter, and it was for someone else. Is it truly the case that my early demise in this life cannot alter my fate in another? I had already succumbed to despair. Brother He approached from behind, interrupting my spiraling thoughts. "Here, I have entrusted someone to bring you a gift. Would you like to present it now or wait until the gathering concludes?" I grasped the gift tightly, casting a glance through the crowd before turning to Brother He, saying, "I am feeling unwell and shall take my leave." Observing the pallor on my face, Brother He guided me away. The summer camp accommodation had already been vacated, so he led me to the nearest hotel and assisted me in securing a room. System reminder: your lifespan is down to 3 days. Current degree of Black Lotus transformation: 0. Watching the relentless passage of time, I felt an unusual stillness in my heart. Having spent so long in this world, I had yet to explore any other places. Since it had come to this, I decided to embrace my true self in these final days. I did not join the main group. Instead, I booked a flight home, intending to pack my belongings and quietly await my fate in a city blessed with gentle breezes and warm sunshine. The system, unusually, remained silent. Once my luggage was ready, I made my way to my brother's room, carrying the unpresented gift. His room was immaculate and orderly, reflecting his own nature. I placed the gift upon his bed, bidding my final farewell in silence. I had no right to blame him. If we were to meet again in another life, I hoped to be a kinder soul. I sighed softly. The sadness of parting abruptly halted as I turned away. At the doorway stood someone who should not have been there at this moment. He gazed at my suitcase by the door, a faint smirk playing on his lips, his eyes cold in a manner I had never witnessed. "Brother, did you not promise never to abandon me?" Even if it is a punishment, shouldn't I at least know the reason? The door clicked shut behind him. He advanced step by step, his inquiries relentless and foreign. Is it because of that person named He Lianhua? Is brother leaving me for him? He Lianhua? He Lianhua? Old he? Huh? Did you go to a hotel with him? Did he touch you here? Or here? His fingers trailed from my lips down to my collarbone. I yearned to escape, yet his arm around my waist held me firmly in place. I had never seen this side of my brother. An instinct urged me to respond immediately. No, we did nothing. Oh, is that so? His finger flicked, and the buttons of my shirt sprang open. He seemed to uncover something that incited his anger, the last vestige of mirth in his eyes extinguished. Brother is a liar. I was thrown onto the soft bed, my hands effortlessly pinned above my head. This is a long story. Allow me to explain. I was sweating with anxiety, desperately releasing pheromones in hopes of pausing his actions. It's fine if brother doesn't speak the truth. I will inspect for myself. Under my watchful gaze, he leisurely peeled off his suppression patch, the pheromones affecting him not in the slightest. Was I too weak? Or was he simply too strong? The situation spiraled beyond control. I called out to the system in my mind but was abruptly confronted with the unchanging progress bar, which skyrocketed from 0 to 100 in an instant. No, can't be. He chuckled softly, his canine teeth grazing my gland. Brother, do you think you can toy with me and then unilaterally withdraw? That's not permissible. How could you provoke me and then run away? Simultaneously, a voice echoed in my mind. Ding, your mission has been completed, and the system is now disengaging. I felt my consciousness falter. Didn't brother wish to know everything about me? Why not inquire where I have been recently? My lips were swollen, resembling ripe cherries. I visited Professor Zhang's laboratory. He informed me that I am in an instant. The introduction of a special group flashed in my mind, one that could mark and was inherently destructive, with pheromone concentrations so high that regular hospital visits for extraction were necessary. Professor Zhang said he had never encountered anyone capable of controlling their consciousness. He asked me how I managed. I felt his fangs brushing against my gland, waiting for him to continue, when a sudden sharp pain struck. The potent pheromones injected into my gland felt dizzyingly exhilarating, each breath becoming rapid and heated. Tears clung to the corners of my eyes, unsure if they were from pain or pleasure. He released his hold on me, gently kissing away my tears. I trembled involuntarily. He whispered, "It seems once is not enough. The taste is too faint." I wept aloud, my voice hoarse, until my body was saturated with his pheromones, nearly overflowing. I finally heard him say, "I told Professor Zhang that I found someone who is a perfect match for me. From the very first moment I met you, I confirmed this. The birthday gift I bought for Tsang Shulin now adorned my neck, a specially crafted black collar capable of concealing 99 of pheromone scent, only unlockable by one person." He was pleased, using it to obscure the redness and swelling of my gland along with his pheromones. I shared everything regarding the system with him, and he did not react with anger, instead pondering perhaps I should be grateful to it. So, brother felt my pleasure yesterday too? Enough, do not call me brother. Why not? You seemed quite excited about it yesterday. I rolled my eyes, too drained to engage further. But then again, your preferences changed too quickly. You once liked obedient and beautiful ones, and then for some reason you grew fond of. He enveloped me in his embrace, his voice husky. It matters not what brother likes. I shall be whatever he desires. Once I regained my composure, I noticed a flurry of messages from old he. Your brother is a carnivorous flower. You must be cautious. He approached my brother just to extract my address, giving me a beating and advising me to stay away from you. Image. Opening it revealed his bruised and battered face, alongside the boy named Ahua laughing maliciously. Ahua, full name He Minghua, is old he's younger brother. Why did you hit him? Humph, it was to sow discord, he deserved it. I recalled previous incidents, questioning skeptically, what about those people from before? He interrupted my query. Brother, I recently learned a new dish. I shall cook it for you. Later, I discovered several books atop his bookshelf. 7 dishes to tease the appetite, 36 strategies to manipulate, 3 steps to defeat a rival in love, 1 fatal move in combat techniques. What kind of obedient and innocent White Lotus would read such books? He was clearly a black-hearted lotus from the very start. A conniving system. On another front, Subject 001, the host you selected has performed excellently, successfully preventing Tsang Shulin's corruption. And the 912 world has not been destroyed by the virus. Mission accomplished. Rewards from the main deity have been issued. Wow, Senior, you are incredible. This world has been reshaped twice. We thought it was beyond saving. Indeed, Senior, what prompted you to choose Zhang Yuding as the executor? The system's voice, typically formulaic, carried a hint of mirth, because he is a true White Lotus, a genuine White Lotus. The conclusion of the narrative has been reached. Thank you for your attentive listening. If you enjoyed it, kindly consider subscribing and giving a thumbs up to show your support. Until we meet again for our next tale.